This lesson we'll talk about piecewise defined functions. So a piecewise function is a function that is defined by more than one equation. And I'll give you a few examples. So for these examples, we're going to evaluate f of -1 and f of 3. So first of all, for number 1, for f of -1, because we are looking at -1, we're going to look at the top part, which is when x is less than 0. So you're going to substitute in -1 for x. You get -1 minus 5. So f of -1 gives you -6. The next thing we need to do is f of 3. So we're looking at x being greater than or equal to 0. So we're going to substitute in 3 for that bottom equation, which is going to give us 19. So now we're going to do the same thing for number 2. For f of -1, this one's a little interesting because this is telling us that when x is less than or equal to 1, f of x is always 3. So your answer here actually is just going to be 3. You don't have any x to plug in the -1 to, you just are going to put 3. For f of 3, we're going to use this middle equation, so that's going to give us 3 minus 3, which gives us 0. And just a side comment, these things on the right-hand side are the domain for the function. So this is telling us the domain for all values where x is less than or equal to 0, we use the function x minus 5. And for x, a domain of x being greater than 0, we use x squared plus 10. So now let's do a graph. And on this graph, our cutoff point is at x equals 1. So remember, this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis. There's a few ways to do these types of graphs, but I'll show you my favorite way to do it. So the way I'm going to do this is at x equals 1, I am going to draw a little dotted line. You can erase it later on if you want to, or you can just leave it there, but it's not actually part of the graph. So what you're going to do is that for everywhere that x is less than 1, you are going to draw the graph of x plus 2. So I'm going to do that in blue. So x plus 2 has a y-intercept of 2 and a slope of 1. So that means I'm going to go up 1, right 1. So there's two ways you can do this part. You can either draw the entire graph and then erase everything where x is not less than 1, or you can just draw the part to the left of that line. I don't really care which way you do it. So then, the next part of the graph I will do in yellow, and that is 4 minus x. So 4 minus x has a y-intercept at 4, a slope of -1, so that's going to be a line that looks like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase everything to the left of that green line. I'm now going to erase the green line. And if you want to darken your graph after that, you can. I recommend that when you first start drawing these, you do it lightly because you are going to erase things. So this is what my graph looks like. Looks like actually an absolute value graph if you remember that. And that is my piecewise graph.